Welcome back, fight fans. This is the DAZN Boxing Show. I go by the name of Ak.
And I'm Barak, the boxing bully.
So nice of you to join us. Big name in the sport of boxing. Rumors that he's going to be fighting a legend. I'm talking about Jake Paul. That's right. Let's get into that right now on the opening bell. Yesterday, TMZ reports that Jake Paul is scheduled to fight MMA legend, longtime UFC middleweight champion, Anderson Silva, sometime in October, supposedly in Phoenix. And Most Valuable Promotions also tweeted and teased a big announcement coming up next week. Listen, Barak, first thing that comes into mind is who Jake was going to fight recently, Hasim Rahman Jr., and I'm thinking about Anderson Silva and how he looked against Chavez Jr. In theory, you would say that Rahman would be more dangerous because he's the more experienced boxer. But the way Anderson looked the last time out, Barak, I'm not sure who do you see Jake having more issues with come fight night?
That's a good question. On paper, I guess it would be Rahman. Rahman has amateur experience. A lot of it, he also has pro experience, and he's a heavyweight. He's a natural heavyweight, probably a heavier puncher. So it just makes sense for Rahman to be, a bigger threat. But man, Anderson Silva, to be able to beat Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., no matter what anybody says about the guy had a decent carear. The guy held the belt. He was a
middleweight champion.
Yeah, he had that WBC strap. I don't think he'd be the champion to get it. He kind of like
so
was giving it.
Stop undermining.
Because in order to be a champ, you got to beat the champ, obviously.
But
is
it all right?
In reality, that's what boxing was founded on.
Not what
you know
it
what I'm
is
saying?
Anymore.
Yeah, I get it. So I can't give him the same credit as the guy that went and beat the champ. You know what I'm saying? So like I said, he held a title and he was a decent fighter. Like he was a pretty good fighter. He had a great fight with Sergio Martinez. So I gotta give him credit, Anderson Silva credit for beating Chavez so handily, like literally outboxed him. Now, it's one thing if Chavez would have just got tired, because he wasn't training hard. But to outbox the boxer, and you only had, I think, one fight at the time, and that one fight was a loss, that says a lot.
Yeah, no.
Or maybe he had two fights at the time.
I was super impressed with Anderson Silva after that performance. I had no idea. There's no way I was going against Chavez Jr., like you described. And I'm calling him a former middleweight champion. He's obviously from a pedigree like Chavez. He's been around the sport his entire life and was a good professional. So that says a lot. That put Anderson Silva on a higher level for me in terms of boxing. Now, Rahman is out of the way. He's going to be fighting Vitor Belfort on the Zone X series. So I'm not sure if he ever fights Jake Paul. Now, Jake Paul would be going into this fight as an underdog, no question. If it's finalized and it's official that he's going to be fighting Anderson Silva, here's the problem I have. I'm not with Jake. I'm going to have a problem with those people because I already see them coming. I already know what they're going to say. If Jake Paul manages to beat Anderson Silva, we're going to be in the same place where people will say he hasn't fought a boxer yet. Even though Anderson has beaten a former world champion in the ring, they're going to say, but he's an MMA legend. He's not really a boxer. Can I remind you guys about who KSI fought? What was his name? Luis Pineda. All right. Yeah, you guys consider him a pro boxer. So I do not want to hear a peep about anybody saying that Jake isn't fighting a professional fighter if this fight is finalized against Anderson Silva.
Do you think Anderson Silva beats Tyron Woodley?
Yes, absolutely. No question about it.
I think Anderson Silva is very skillful in that ring. He is technically a boxer. He has 4 fights under his belt. The problem is, and listen, you're never going to satisfy the fans. That's it. There's always going to be some group of fans that's going to pinpoint something that they're going to critique. And that's okay, but you can say Anderson Silva is 47 years old. But at the end of the day, Jake should still be the underdog because of his experience in the UFC and because of Silva's experience in the ring. For beating Chavez, Jake has to be the underdog. Do you think that Jake could beat Chavez?
I mean, I don't know. That's a great question, and that's
what
a
I'm
fight that
saying.
actually they
We
were
don't
talking
know.
about.
We
But
don't
listen,
know.
And by the way, that wasn't a shot at KSI. That's the opponent that they chose from. He took care of business. I was just making a point of the whole professional boxer thing that's been going around since Jake Paul's been in the sport. So that's a little frustrating. I think if this fight indeed happens, I think it's a hell of a matchup. I give so much credit to Jake Paul and Most Valuable Promotions for taking the risk in taking that fight. It's a risky fight. If you lose that fight, then people have to say, hey, people will say he lost your 47-year-old man who's really not a boxer. So he has a lot to lose here. And he also has a lot to gain, but not as much. He has more to lose than what he has to gain, because as I said earlier, people are going to say that he's not a boxer if Jake Paul looks phenomenal. But I'll be one of the guys on this very show pointing out reminding people what he did with Chavez Jr. and just the skill level, Barak, just watching him, the eyeball test, the way he moves. He has sauce in that boxing ring. Like, he knows what he's doing. He doesn't look awkward like some MMA fighters. So I hope, if he wins, I hope he gets the credit he deserves.
We don't get to set a criteria who's a boxer or not if somebody's had a professional fight. If you had a professional fight, the moment you have a professional fight, you are a boxer. Right. And that's it.
But because he's known as an MMA legend,
established, you're not experienced. There's a whole bunch of people better than you. There's a whole bunch of people that accomplish more than you, but you're still a boxer. The day you enter in the NFL, you're a football player that very same day. And that's just what it is. You're a rookie, but you're still a football player.
But you're still a pro.
And that's the thing. So Anderson Silva is a boxer, and that's it. He's not as experienced as a whole bunch of people, but he's better than Pineda. He's better than Pineda, and he's a million times better than Swarms.
I mean, Barak, he beat a former title holder.
That's what I'm talking about.
So he's not just a regular. He's not just a boxer that got his physical and got his professional boxing license. He beat somebody that was a champion at one point. All right, but listen,
and it feels kind of strange backing Jake Paul and fighting, like speaking up for Jake Paul, because
it doesn't feel strange for me.
It feels strange for me because he's just so not accepted by the boxing community, and everybody's always disrespectful towards anybody that speaks up for Jake Paul. But it is what it is. The man tried to fight Tommy Fury. The man tried to fight Rahman Jr. And the man is about to fight Anderson Silva. And he's a freaking YouTuber. He came from YouTube. He put down YouTube. He doesn't even want to be called a YouTuber anymore. And people still don't respect him. I gotta respect him for that. And you know what? He can lose this fight. Now, there was nobody in the world that thought KSI, and I'm putting them on the same platform as KSI because they're both YouTubers. There's nobody in the world that thought KSI was going to lose to Swarms. There's nobody in the world that thought KSI was going to lose to Pineda.
Well, I mean,
but at the same time,
for those that
at the same time, I don't know what's so important. At the same time, KSI is saying, "I'm different. I'm built different," and you're fighting guys that nobody think is going to beat you. You know what I mean? So, yes, you might not like. Go ahead.
I don't know about Pineda. There were a lot of people saying that he's fighting a pro fighter. Nobody saw him fight before. So there were people that weren't sure about that fight.
The people who knew about him knew he was going to lose. Right. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, the commentators knew because they knew ahead of time that these were going to be 2 knockouts by KSI. And what I'm saying is that if we're going to compare these two, if we're going to put KSI in the same boat as Jake Paul, then we got to understand that Jake Paul is trying to fight guys that are way better and trying to fight guys that he is the underdog against, and we have to give him that credit. Guess what? Jake Paul might lose this fight.
Yeah, look, I don't have a problem with defending Jake in this regard and just really pointing out facts. This is not being biased. We're not swaying in one way, because we're cool with Jake or whatever. This is facts. He's fighting guys that are real threats. At least trying to. He's made an attempt. I mean, the fight was set at the Garden for Hasim Rahman Jr. Now, if this fight isn't, now keep in mind, folks, you don't take this to the bank yet. This is not official. There were some tweets put out there. This was reported. As soon as it becomes official, we'll give you more information on that. Our boy Ariel Hawani tweeted out that the fight is supposedly going to be happening at 185. So I guess
which is
roughly a
another
cruiserweight.
thing right there. Like everybody's saying, you're always fighting somebody shorter.
Yeah.
You're always fighting somebody who's smaller than you. You know, so Tyron Woodley was smaller. Tyron Woodley was shorter. This guy Anderson Silva has been fighting at 185. His last fight against Chavez was 190 something, 192. You know what I mean? He fought in the UFC at 185. Right. This is it. Listen, this is it. The only thing you can bring up is that he's 47 years old. You can't bring up that he's way more experienced than he's way more experienced as a boxer.
Well, let's
Jake Paul.
Let's just wait it out, Barak, and see if this actually becomes an announcement next week.
Well, this was wasted energy. I don't even know why we're talking about this. This might not even happen.
Official. I mean, I think we've been in some situations throughout our career that we talked up a fight that actually wind up not happening. But I don't know. I got a feeling this one is going to be official coming soon. But yeah, that's our show for today. Hope you guys enjoyed. Peace and love. Stay safe. We're out of here.